All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Octavia Butler. This land has seen change, both harmful and some beautiful. But how do we direct it? How do we create change intentionally in order to bring ourselves closer to the world we dream of living in, rather than further from it through the harm that colonialism perpetuates? As I first begin down this winding path, I am greeted by the rich smell of wet earth, and a chill runs up my spine. I plant my feet, one after the other, as I feel myself settling. The sound of water rushing down the falls greets my ears with a sparkling remembrance. I have once again returned to this place of many stories, this land of tenderness and of steadiness. I have arrived, and as I center myself for a gentle traverse of this maple-lined path, I remember the importance of being in spaces of quietness and of this blooming life surrounding. I remember the histories of this space, both told and untold, of the indigenous peoples who have tended the land for generations. And I remember the importance of honoring this land as belonging to the indigenous peoples whose lineage is rooted here, entwined with the roots of the oldest trees. So often, the history of land is only recognized by the names colonizers have given to it. But that is not any way to truly honor land for who it is. So, this land is not in the United States. It is a woodland on Turtle Island, tended by the indigenous peoples who have stewarded the land for longer than colonizers have tried to know it. This land is a space I have had the pleasure of getting to know in different ways throughout my whole life. The life it holds is sacred, but endangered. The land has begun to be logged, decimated. This place was Indiana's main waterway for many years, as a reservoir that filled the whole basin to the edges. In 1915, the waterway was dammed, and this lasted until 1943, when the city dug Griffey Lake as Monroe County's waterway, and the Leonard Springs Dam was broken. Once parts of the dam keeping the water in were deconstructed, the water receded to the wetlands now marking the base of the hills around here, and what once was a dammed churning of water is now habitat for many animals. But now, after almost 100 years of being allowed to grow wildly, it has begun to be logged. The city is moving in with harvesters, skidders, and fellers. This is yet another example of the ways old-growth forests and indigenous peoples are regarded similarly by colonizers, regarded as something to wipe out in order to extract from the land what these beings protect. In her book, Undrowned, Alexis Pauline Gumbs, a writer whose work is guiding us into the next world, asks, how can we listen across species, across extinction, across harm? How can we honor it, the archive of your breathing? What can I do to honor you now that it is too late? I would honor you with the roughness of my skin, the thickness of my boundaries, the warmth of my own growth. I would honor you with the slowness of my movement, contemplative and graceful. I will remember you, not by the name written in the possessive of the one they say discovered you after generations of indigenous relationship. I will say, once upon a time there was a huge and quiet forest, a tree-filled, sunlit listener, a wide and sprawling woodland. As we continue to traverse the hills, we come upon a place with such incredible view of the waterfalls that I often let go of my breath when I land here. From this single point of these wild, sprawling forests, you can see all 7 waterfalls from one place. The smaller rivers are dry right now, but the biggest are still visible. I stop on this log almost every time that I come here. I have pictures of me from as far back as me being 7 or 8 years old landed on this log on my way down the path. And as I continue down the path, I settle. I want to take a moment to be honest about something not often pointed out. The history that I just gave you about this space, that was only a glimpse of the history that this land has held and watched pass. I want to acknowledge that Leonard Springs was built on the ancestral homelands of the Mia, Lenape, Bodo-Weedwadamik, and Sawanwa peoples. And this land holds stories and lives of so many people who were here before the colonizer moved in and built on top of it. I have now arrived at the lower wetlands, where the beaver dam and stream are, right across this wild swath of cattails, where me and my sibling play so often. This space calls me back, time and time again, to the unwavering steadiness and avid kindness needed to create the worlds we dream of living in. I, as a being who knows so deeply the need for connection with and protection of these sacred trees, call on you. Join me in my land protection. Let us feed these sacred wells within us and return this land to the people who have stewarded it for so long. While we walk these lands that we have built our whole lives on top of, let us remember the stories of those who were first in relationship with it. And let us not forget that land back is not only a movement here. From Turtle Island to Palestine, let us fight for the lives of the indigenous peoples who need access to their land and who the land needs in order to heal from the harm it has been forced to endure. Thank you.